Ladies and gentlemen, let me find my button here. Hang on. There we go. Lord. You can buy a little remote controller kind of thing that you can put right on the desk that has little buttons to control all that. I probably need to do that one of these days, because going over to the computer to switch the scenes is kind of a pain sometimes. Welcome to Weekly Pint. This is the show that is not a show, except it's every week at the same time, and you look at it like you would a show. Whatever, I don't know, guys. I don't know what makes it a show, what makes it not a show, but yeah. Julia, Marco, good to see you guys. Justin's over on Facebook. How's everybody doing? I got to record an episode of Cincy Brewcast today with other people, not just by myself, which, if anybody listened to this week's show, is what that was. What are we drinking? Everybody tell me, and I'm going to crack open a beer out of a dirty glass, whatever. Out of a dogfish head glass that I happen to have laying around. Whatever. It holds beer, right? I'm gonna drink a Westside Schwartz beer because I love dark lagers. Speaking of which, has anybody gotten to try that UA from Fretboard yet? I've been really curious about it and have not gotten my hands on it yet. Julia is drinking her last can of Listermann's Basic. Before that, enjoyed my first Staghorn Oktoberfest from New Glarus. I've never had it. Justin is drinking High Life. His lady is drinking Cider Boys and also hot chocolate on the side. I'm very notorious, I guess, for having multiple drinks in my normal life, not when I'm doing the show. Obviously, I don't even have time to drink this half the time during the show, but normally, like if we're sitting there for dinner, I'll have like 3 glasses of different things lined up for watching TV. Not that we get to watch TV anymore. I'll have, multiple cup holders filled with different drinks, especially this time of year, because I like having something warm. I like having some tea or some coffee, depending on the time of day, and then a beer, and then some water. It's just one thing after another. And Marco is having a truth, getting some to-go food. What kind of to-go food are you getting? I've had a horrible craving lately for wings, and I have not been able to get any because we are, and I say we loosely, my wife is not quarantined anymore. She actually got out for, hang on, this was what I was going to drink and I forgot. She did get out this weekend for me. Family tradition. So if anybody made it to that release and got to try them, please let me know. Vernon is drinking his first Bourbon County Stout. Yes, it's hyped, but it's very good. It is a delicious beer. I will take stuff like this any day over Bourbon County, but it is a good beer. Justin wants to know if anybody has had the new Kelly's Candy. The gin variant is wonderful. I have not. I did see they had some bottles left over, and if I wasn't on quarantine, I would have been stopping by to pick some up, because I am definitely curious to try this. No water is what they're calling it. I don't raise the ABV. I guess they used wort on top of the second mash. I guess. Is that right? Somebody can help me out here. Marco is at BJ's, is what he said. I haven't been there in a long time, but I've had this horrible hankering for wings lately, and it was killing me today to not get wings. But yeah, we'll be off I will be off quarantine eventually. Got another week to go, and it is absolute torture. So my wife's was up last week, which is why mine still has a week to go. If anybody doesn't know how that works, if you live in the same house with somebody and you aren't able to physically separate from them, which we can't dump the kids on either one of us. So then once their quarantine period, their kind of safety period, whatever you want to call it, is up, yours starts, because you could, in theory, the day before have caught COVID. So then it's 14 days from their last day, which is a pain. But my entire family is now on lockdown for another week. So there's that. But because hers was up a week ago, this weekend, she ventured out of the house for the first time. And I didn't want to ask her to do it, but with December 1st quickly approaching, Julia was kind enough to buy me an advent calendar over at Higher Gravity, but we needed to get it before the 1st so that we could celebrate properly. So I just kind of casually brought it up, I think on Friday maybe. I said, hey, you're not quarantined anymore. Do you want to go run out? And she said, oh, yeah, I could do that. And I said, okay, I need you to go to Higher Gravity. I need you to go to Sonder. I need you to start listing stuff that I needed her to go do on complete opposite ends of town. But she did. She was wonderful. So she went and picked up my bottles, picked up the calendar. And then oh, my God. So I don't know if she really understood what the Advent calendar the Advent calendar was all about, because she parked over in the parking lot and then walked over to Higher Gravity and picked up the calendar and then carried the 30-pound box all the way back to the parking lot by herself with her post-COVID lungs. So she gets extra points, I guess. Did somebody just make an angry face on Facebook when people like the stream or whatever, little guys float up? One of them was angry. Are you angry at my wife for helping me, or angry at me for making my wife help me? That's funny. I like. She's wonderful. She is. She's absolutely fantastic. Marco says that's awesome. Julia says, tell her thank you for picking up 30-pound behemoth. And then she added that she could have parked right out front for a few minutes and they would have brought it out for her. Yes, that's what I assumed she was going to do. I did tell her after the fact. She came home and was complaining about it. And I said, I'm sorry. I really thought you would just park right out front. Even when she went in to pick it up, they asked if she was able to get it to her car. And she said, oh, yeah, I just parked right over there in the parking lot. So I don't know if she really knew what she was getting into. And then on top of that, her smell and her taste still has not come back completely. There are like a couple little things that she can start to taste a little bit. But most of the beers that I've had her try have not been what she can taste. So she's going to go into this advent calendar starting tomorrow and not be able to taste the things that we're opening up. So the poor girl can't really enjoy it either. She is an absolute saint. She's wonderful. And not only for putting up with our wonderful children, for putting up with the crap that I put her through. I don't know if she appreciates this this lockdown period for us, this quarantine where I'm home all the time, or if she's just ready for me to go back to work. On the plus side, I did finally, in theory, I haven't checked my email to make sure I went through. I think I finally got all of my paperwork settled for my my leave at work, for my COVID quarantine leave, I guess. So once that goes through, I'm not working. I get to just hang out around the house. So I'm kind of excited about that. It means I get to start drinking at 9 a.m. on the weekend. That was what was fun too about this last holiday weekend. We decorated for Christmas. I don't know if anybody saw on Instagram, we were decorating, and whenever, that's when I break out the peppermint schnapps from March 1st from Voltage, and it just goes so good. So all weekend long, I was starting my mornings with, I have this little tiny mug. It's probably like 4 or 5 ounces, just this little itty bitty mug, and I use that to drink my schnapps. And I just carry my little mug around the house drinking it, and it's awesome. Justin wants to know, does brewing beer for a living count as a job? It does. It absolutely does. It is the most important job, in my opinion. I did. I should say, replacing my little fun schnapps mug this year. I finally got, you guys know, on Christmas vacation, the moose mug. I found a shot glass version of the moose mug, so it's a little smaller than I wanted it to be, but it's like a 1.5 ounces or 2 ounces or something of a little tiny moose, and I'm going to start using that for my schnapps at Christmas time, which I do highly recommend, by the way. You cannot lack Christmas cheer when you have peppermint schnapps in front of you. It might actually be my favorite spirit that is made in Cincinnati. I think. I'd have to really put some thought behind it. Like, New Riff is cranking out some amazing bourbon, but I don't even think that comes next to peppermint schnapps. I don't think. I don't know, but it's so good. Julia says she needs a picture of that shot glass on Instagram. There will be as soon as it comes. Amazon is delivering it, I think, tomorrow. So, especially if I go to check. I could check my email while I'm sitting here talking to you guys. If my leave went through, then yeah, I'll be drinking nice and early. By the way, if you guys want to call in, you I assume know the drill because you guys all listen to the show. I have to sign in on there. I'm not doing that right now. All right, well, don't call in right now because I'm checking my email. That would be nice. Although I don't know, even if it is all through. No, of course, nobody emails me back. Should I just assume that I'm not working? I forgot what I was saying. If I'm not working, I'll be drinking early. Marco says he has a moose mug. We had one, so this is actually a good story on the Christmas theme. Hang on, let me drink a beer first, you guys. You guys are all familiar with white elephant parties, I assume. I think that's kind of a normal thing now. Everybody draws a number, you get gifts, you have to trade. Gifts can only be traded a couple times. Right. I'm not crazy here. I'm a pro at white elephants. I strategy wise, I've got it. If I want something, I'm going to get it. But sometimes that comes at the expense of people around me, including my wife, who, as you mentioned earlier, is a saint for putting up with me in lots of situations like that. There was, on a little tangent, she still, I wish I could, no, I think it's back in the storage room. I have this really great mug that I won one time, she had something really, really awesome, and I can't remember what it was. I don't know. It doesn't matter. She had something really good, and there was something that I wanted. The only way for me to get what I wanted was to have somebody steal her gift, and she ended up left with this mug that I also kind of wanted because it was cool. And it's like a big 20-ounce mug, and on it is like a bike bell that you hit, and then on it says something about, when you need a refill, you ring the bell. That's sitting somewhere. That's not the story, though. So the moose mug, probably, I don't know, 2-3 years ago, something like that, we were at a white elephant, and she ended up with just one of those moose mugs. I was thrilled about it because I was going to take it once we got home and just drink out of it every single day because I love it. And we got home and I was so excited telling her how I always wanted one and it was so cool and I was going to use it. I wasn't going to steal it, but I was going to use it all the time. And I was going to steal it. But we get home and I walk over to the counter and I pull it out of the bag and I'm like, oh, this is great. I'm looking at the box and I turn the box. I can't remember how exactly. I turned it to open it and evidently it wasn't a box. It was like a sleeve around the styrofoam. So as I turn the box, the whole thing slides out. The moose mug falls out, goes tumbling, hits the counter, and both of his little moose antlers fly off of the mug. And I'm like, oh, God, no. Now, sorry for my wife, but I always wanted one of these things, and now I just broke it. So I have to then try to fix this thing. So I take it out in the garage and I get the super glue out, and I'm pretty good at super gluing things back together. We've got kids. So I get it all super glued back together and I, let it set up for like 2 days, making sure it's nice and cured and it's not going anywhere. Get out there the next day and I grab that little antler and I'm like, come on. And I pick it up and just the whole thing falls apart. And I couldn't get it fixed. So I tried several times with glue, and by the time I was done, I was like, this is impossible. And they're only like $20 or something on Amazon. But there's always something else that I think, takes priority of spending money versus what was his name? Wally the Moose. Is that right? Something like that. And I, yeah. That's the moose mug story. But I am a professional at white elephants. Talk about a tangent going from my little shot glass to white elephants. I love this time of year. We bought a new Christmas tree. That was our excitement for the day. When we got our tree out the other day to decorate, we realized it was looking a little shabby. It was kind of lopsided. It's always been a little small. We have a pretty decent sized living room. It looked a little small in the room, and so we just every year we're like, oh, we should get another one next year when there's a sale or something like that. Well, after we got the tree up, we were talking about it and just happened to look on Amazon, and there was a tree for like $100 or something. It looks awesome. I don't know what flocked or not flocked means as far as trees go. It's a tree. It's like your standard like fake tree. Do you have a leg lamp? I do not have a leg lamp. I don't know where I would put one. She would make me put it down here in the basement, and I don't really have a good spot. Although, now that I'm saying that, oh, no fake snow. No fake snow. It would be a good spot right there for a leg lamp. I would have to turn the little logo off, though. It would have to just be, if I have, no, I don't have one on here. It would have to be just this little gnarly gnome thing, and then get rid of this. That's a major award. I have to watch that movie soon. That was the other fun thing this weekend. We were hanging out around the house and doing our decorating, and I was watching a bunch of Christmas movies and playing Christmas music and stuff. And somehow my daughter ended up sitting on the couch with me and watched almost the entire movie of Home Alone, and that was awesome. She had lots of questions about everything that was happening, but she thought it was funny. Mainly she didn't know what robbers were, and trying to explain that to a 3-year-old was very, very difficult. I'm like, well, it's these people, and they're bad guys. Oh, okay. So then they come into your house and take your things. What? But it's a movie. It's not real. But yeah, they're robbers. They just take things. But she understood that they were bad guys. She was concerned that they were hurt the whole time. He's definitely hurt bad daddy, is what she kept saying. I said, yeah, but he's a bad guy. It's okay. Die Hard is the best Christmas movie, says Marco. Julia says, followed closely by Nightmare Before Christmas. Gremlins. Oh, Gremlins is a good one. Yeah, Die Hard is definitely near the top of my list. Gremlins, I haven't thought about it, but that is definitely that definitely makes it up there. I love the classics. I love Home Alone. I love Christmas Vacation. As far as newer ones go, Elf is fantastic. We actually need to watch that one too. She would appreciate that one. Oh, there's just so many. We had to roll through. I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with the whole Elf on the Shelf franchise. It's not just the Elf on the Shelf. They now have pets. They have a reindeer, a dog, and an Arctic fox, and they all have stories that go along with them. And like, they gather Christmas cheer and save it, and all kinds of stuff. And they all have movies that go along with them. They're not like long movies; they're like short little like TV episodes, basically. But we had to watch every single one of those. The dog multiple times, because she's obsessed with dogs. So that was the other thing we had to do this weekend. Lots of Christmas cheer, which I'm okay with. It was fun. But yeah, I was hoping to dive into one of these family traditions this weekend. Pro tip, if you don't want to do the Elf on the Shelf, the elf has to quarantine for 14 days before he can come into the house. I actually saw some stuff online of people putting them in like jars and stuff to quarantine them. No, ours is back. In our house, they come back as soon as you put your Christmas decorations up. The Christmas spirit brings them back, I guess. And ours came back with another elf, a brother elf for her brother. So we have 2 elves that live in our house, and then they brought their pets with them. So there's that. But yeah, every morning we have to see what hijinks they got up to when they got back from the North Pole. For any of you guys who don't know the whole Elf on the Shelf thing and what happens here, the elves live in your house all Christmas season, and they just sit on a shelf, and they kind of watch and make sure that you're good, and you can tell them things that you want for Christmas and stuff like that. Because every night they fly away. They fly to the North Pole and report to Santa Claus and tell him everything that you've been doing. And so that he doesn't have to always watch you and make sure you're being good, they report for him. And then tell him things that you want and things like that. And then in the morning, they fly back, come back in the house, and get back in a spot. However, these goofy little elves, they always find some mischief to get into when they get back, which has become a huge thing, I guess. It used to just be, I guess, that maybe they were in a different spot, and you had to find where their new spot was. Well, not anymore. Now they're ice skating, and they're driving cars, and pulling toilet paper off the roll, or food all over the floor. Who knows? If you just get online and look at some of the stuff people's elves get up to, it's one more thing on the list at Christmas time that you got to worry about, which I assume everybody's lives are pretty chaotic this time of year. You don't need to worry about some goofy little elf getting up to who knows what hijinks, but we do. I don't even think she likes it that much, honestly. I don't think she really cares. She likes the pets. She likes the dog one of the pets. She likes him. Her elf is named No, because she named her when she was like, I don't know, 1 maybe, so she couldn't say that many things, and she wasn't allowed to touch the elf, so No was the name of the elf. And then we told her she was allowed to name her brother's elf until he was old enough to rename the elf. And I think his name is like goldfish, maybe? Some kind of food, some kind of snack. Striped cookies, that's what it is. The elf is striped cookies. Then the pets are named things like cardboard, fur, I can't remember the other one. Box, that's it. It's like she just looks around, and the first thing she sees, she names them. Sorry, we're going from talking about beer to talking about Elf on a Shelf. I haven't been up to anything in the last week, so there's not a lot of things to talk about. My poor wife has to sit here and put up with all of my beer talk every day, which is why this week's Brewcast ended up just being a rant about Bourbon County brand stout. But next week's show is a little bit better. We Justin from the Ohio Craft Brewers Association jumped on, and we sat and we talked for about an hour just about kind of what the group does, how their importance has changed because of 2020 and all of the stuff that goes along with that, and talked about just Ohio beer in general. It was fun. It was a good show. And then next week, what is next week? Oh, excuse me, guys. Next week is, let's see. I do have, sorry, my notes are all chaos here. Upcoming shows. Oh, I do not. Next week might be some big sis discussion and about kind of what the beer is about and what it's going to look like next year and all of that stuff. A little delayed after the event, but we, again, in theory, we'll do that. We just talked about it briefly, and that was before the whole quarantine thing. But after that, I think we tentatively have the show that was supposed to be this last week rescheduled, which is our Christmas beer show with Brett from Urban, but I don't know. That's it's set in stone yet. My quarantine, so the Big Sis one, we have it scheduled for next Monday to actually record it. Next Monday, kind of evening-ish. So we'll see. Maybe that may actually affect this show that is not a show also, because it'll make it hard to get this fired up by 9. Well, maybe not too bad. We'll see. So yeah, anybody else ventured out into the world? Can you tell me what is happening out there? I saw that it snowed. That was fun to look at through the window. It's really exciting lately to take out the garbage and things like that and get outside. I'm so sick of being cramped up in the house, but we'll start wrapping it up then, guys. The beer advent calendar, I'm excited about it. Starts tomorrow. Make sure you go follow Julia on what do you do it on Instagram or on I guess you do it on Facebook. You usually post it into the Cincinnati Craft Beer Club. You're unboxing every day, so go follow her. Keep your eyes on that because I'm excited to see what they include this year. And other than that, just stick around for sorry, I'm trying to fix this here. Stick around for some upcoming shows because there's some good stuff. There's good stuff planned on a lot of different fronts that I'm just trying to figure out. I have some video stuff that I'm working on, but you would think being locked up inside the house, it would be easier to get stuff done, and that is just not the case. I get, I think, less time to work on stuff than I was before, somehow. I don't know. Again, my wife's a saint. I won't complain. But just keep your eyes peeled. There is prosts every week up on YouTube, and obviously Cincy Brewcast up on whatever your favorite podcasting platform happens to be. I try to keep it up to date on all of them. Hopefully no more technical difficulties like I had a couple weeks ago. That was my fault. Everything's always my fault. I had this brilliant idea to upload bigger shows, not even thinking that I would fill up my quota of content. It's real goofy the way they do hosting for a lot of podcasts. It doesn't matter how much stuff you have uploaded. It only matters how much stuff you're uploading each month. So, yeah, big shows aren't a big deal except getting them up. It used to be, it all happened because, it used to be when you started podcasting, people would tell you had to keep your file size small because people were, downloading on their phone, and half the time they were using data and things like that. So, you had to keep small files because people were going to download them. Whereas now, with everybody doing, unlimited data or Wi-Fi where they're downloading stuff, it just doesn't matter anymore how big your file size really is, except for your podcast host. They don't like it. So that's what happened. So I have smaller files again. I don't think it matters. I don't think anybody can really tell the difference. It's not that big of a quality change. So, Matt says he still tunes in, but he fasts on Mondays, so he can never drink with us. Oh man. Well, maybe we'll have to do a special weekly pint on a different night, just so we can drink with you. Maybe. Or I should just get you on the Brewcast or something one of these days, and we can sit and drink via Zoom. Julia says it sounded fine once it was up. Good. That's what I like to hear. All right, guys. We'll wrap it up. And yeah, thanks for tuning in again. I always enjoy doing this, especially right now when the only people I get to talk to are my wife, my 3-year-old, and then the baby, which he doesn't really talk back at all. He just sometimes yells and throws toys. That's pretty much all he does. The conversation is definitely lacking. I swear he can say dada, but he might just be yelling. Thank you very much. Yeah, stay tuned for tomorrow for Advent Calendar season. We'll see you guys.